In this video, we have a very interesting and rather unusual device to look at, which utilizes modern tech for the likes of homebrewing. This is the iGulu F1, a smart automated home brewing machine that puts you in charge of brewing your own beverage. Even though this device is primarily focused on brewing different types of beer, which is an alcoholic beverage, there are also non-alcoholic options to be brewed and consumed as well. And the way I found about this device was yet again true IFA. In fact, it was the last booth that I bumped into on my way out. They offered me to try homebrewed cider, which was brewed with their machines, and the people behind this creation were super relaxed. Guess you can understand why when your product is a brewing machine. And in some way, it was the smart aspect that caught my attention, since this is a tech channel and most of the things I review here are smart in one way or another, so for beer enthusiasts and tech people alike, this will be interesting. While the Oktoberfest is still many months away, I know that St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner. So let's get started. When looking at the design, it looks pretty sleek, with my machine being in black color. But currently, there are 3 total colors to choose from, including white and green. And while being simple, the design is also pretty futuristic, which mostly comes from the added smart part of this device, since on the front, there is a metallic dispenser with a touchscreen on it. And this surely draws the attention when first seen. There is also a giant LED bar, which is meant to show the status of the machine, to inform you when your drink is still being brewed or if it is ready to consume, and any problems that might occur will be displayed as well. This LED stripe is quite bright, and it will stay on while machine is doing its job, so you might want to place it in a room where you won't get disturbed by it at night, probably it being the kitchen, as the cooling compressor also does generate some noise when it kicks in, and it should blend in any room quite well, while also looking pretty stylish. Behind it is a mount and pressure indicator for the CO2 tank, as well as a connector for the electric cord and a power switch. So being a pretty large container with some interesting details, the outer appearance does make you wonder what is happening inside. On the top, there is a lid which hides a 1-gallon transparent plastic brewing keg. That should translate to about roughly 4 liters. And to introduce the rest of the components, parts and features, we should get straight to brewing. Here iGulu provided me a starter pack of 3 different types of their own beer brewing kits, and this is the easiest way to go if you don't have any previous experience in brewing. In the menu we have Bavarian Wheat Ale, English Porter and Pale Ale, and because I am in Bavaria, we will start with Bavarian Wheat Ale. So all instructions can be found on the back of each pack, which should be pretty straightforward. Before starting, you have to make sure that the plastic keg is clean and sanitized. And then you will need to fill up the keg with filtered water till the indicated 116-ounce marking. Now depending on the kit, you might have different ingredients. For this recipe, we have hop bitter extract, dry wheat beer yeast, and in the big bag we have Bavarian wheat dry malt extract. First we add the hop bitter extract drops into the water, then stir afterwards. Then comes the dry wheat beer yeast, after which we stir again. And finally, the dry malt extract, which should be poured in evenly, and here you have to make sure to leave it unstirred. Once this is done, it is time to seal the keg with the orange cap, as well as fix it around with a safety ring, which also has handles for easier handling. Now we open the top lid and put the keg inside. Now there are 2 tubes that need to be attached to the keg, one being the dispenser tube that needs to be inserted to the specific marking on the dispenser end, and then attached to the middle of the keg on the other end. Make sure to secure the attached clasp to prevent the beer from leaking under higher pressure. On the inside, there is a pressure regulator tube, which also needs to be attached to the keg. And in case you need to depressurize the keg manually, there is an orange gas release valve. Basically that's it, everything is ready for brewing. Now the interesting part is that each of iGulu's own brewing kits come with a special RFID sticker, which needs to be scanned near the letter G of the iGulu logo on the side. This tells the machine the instructions on which recipe to use for brewing. This got recognized as Bavarian Hefeweizen, and below we get a brief info on the planned brewing schedule with days and temperatures. So just hit brew now and that's it. The status LED will now turn orange and you can come back after 11 days, which depends on the beer type. As with others, the brewing time can even take 20 days. And the way this temperature regulation works is that the iGulu F1 has a built-in compressor, so it is able to adjust the temperature by refrigerating the keg inside. And the compressor will kick in every once in a while to sustain proper temperature. This is also where the previously mentioned sound gets a bit louder time to time. So while the beer is brewing, let's talk about the other smart features of the iGulu F1. As with all this tech, it is able to do some side quests as well. So all the controls are accessible from the built-in circular display, which kind of reminds of a smartwatch. Here you can browse the different modes, like initiate brewing, view your brewing history, access settings to pair the phone app, download firmware upgrades, change units, and so on. And here I have to mention that my device has master mode activated, which enables even more granular brewing controls like creation of custom recipes, fermentation stages, and so on. And this can be unlocked by tapping a special RFID card against the reader, which is an extra sold separately. But this will mostly be useful to those doing some advanced brewing, having the need to fine-tune the whole brewing process. You get all the controls in the app, but we will get to that in a minute. But one-tap brewing will be sufficient to craft anything from the available brewing kits. Now, before we get on to looking at the rest of the features, you should consider installing a CO2 tank, as even though the iGulu F1 has a built-in air pump, it is recommended to add one anyway. Firstly, to preserve freshness and to add that extra carbonation to your drink, making it a real drop bear when dispensed. Here you can use a regular SodaStream blue cylinder with a screwable thread. Just be sure to not use the quick release one, as it won't be compatible. So the first cool feature, in addition to the brewing, is the cooling mode. It can utilize the built-in compressor to also refrigerate a typical 5-liter metal beer keg. So let's say for the off days when you're not brewing yourself. And as there are different types of beer kegs, there are also different types of modes for them, as well as accessories to support that. A classic 5-liter beer keg can be integrated with the help of this special accessory, which you insert on the top hole and lock into the place. For the first time, this process turned out rather splashy, so maybe I just need to gain some experience with this. The accessory should then again be connected to the dispensing tube on one end and the pressure tube on the other. Certain kegs already come with a built-in CO2 cartridge, like the ones from Heineken for example, so there's a special dispenser tube accessory for those as well. Now, funny enough, for such a serious machine, you can also turn it into a soda machine if you want to, for the off-beer days, by filling the brewing keg with still water to get sparkling water or lemonade. And for the continuation of the non-alcoholic use cases, there is a special mode for brewing kombucha as well, so you can enjoy a nice cold fermented tea rich in probiotics. And iGulu even recently released a kombucha brewing kit to support that. With an extra effort, you could probably utilize the master mode to even make your own kvass or non-alcoholic beer as well. And before we get to see the final product of our homebrew, there is one more smart part we need to take a look at, which is the phone application. The iGulu F1 is also Bluetooth and Wi-Fi enabled, which means that you can monitor your brewing status remotely even while being away from home. And just before finalizing my review, a new update with a facelift was released, making the UI much more appealing and fixing a lot of previously encountered bugs. The app will prove most useful within the users of Master Mode, as this is the place to access and create your own custom recipes and fine-tuning the whole brewing process. Other than that, it provides mostly the basic functionality, where you can see some core device information, brewing history, share it with other app users, and do firmware upgrades, as well as activate the Keg Cooling mode remotely. And despite having a smartphone app, you can still achieve more from the display itself, which I believe will get better over time as more features get added to the app. But enough with the tech talk. I know you want to hear what the homebrew beer is like. Once your beer is ready, you will get a green indicator light, and the machine will also keep the beer refrigerated automatically once the brewing is done. And the unfiltered beer looks really nice. While being unpasteurized, it surely has much better taste characteristics, and I really love how this Bavarian one turned out, as it has really nice and fruity flavor, and overall it just really feels amazing that this beer was literally crafted in a corner of my home. I may not be a beer expert, but the taste seemed to get even better over the week, while constantly being chilled. And after the latest update, there is now an option for beer bottling as well, which was launched with the cheaper iGulu S1, so you can now fill your homebrew beer in bottles and store it for consumption, while already preparing the next one. And it is really nice to see devices like this that bring traditional brewing to your tabletop with the power of tech. And from the early days of Kickstarter, this company surely has established a vision for homebrewing with specific goals and experience in mind. But I know that a question comes to your mind: how much does this thing cost? This is where things seem to get a little bit pricey. Well, of course depending on how you look at it, as the nominal starting price of the iGulu F1 is $750, which is nearly always accompanied by some ongoing discounts, as for example on the website you can claim a 15% voucher right away, which does bring the price down by a lot. But then there is also the cheaper iGulu S1, which is a significantly cheaper version with slightly reduced set of features while maintaining the most important core functionality. And pricing wise, the iGulu brewing kits will cost at least $20 each, capable of providing about a gallon of beer. So this makes it pretty clear that this won't be a replacement for your daily retail beer, and for somebody looking to consume large quantities of beer, this would turn out rather expensive. But iGulu is really not meant to replace anything, and their message is clearly visible, as these words follow wherever you look. And it truly is a totally different kind of experience. The way I see this, it's kind of comparable to owning a vinyl player, as it may not always be the cheapest format out there, and it might not even be the best quality you can get, but it feels truly personal because it is produced and mixed differently, making the whole process itself more like a ritual where it is all about the excitement and joy. So for an enthusiast, hobbyist, or just a person who appreciates good beer, this really is a one-tap brewing solution, providing high-quality beer brewing possibility within a home environment. And since I still have some brewing kits left, let me know if you would like me to do some shorts on these as well. So I hope that you liked this beer-themed video, and subscribe to see more interesting tech-related content. So, see you in the next video.